it increasingly feels like a very major regional conflict is approaching the Middle East. This is not something coming out of nowhere. Such developments are mentioned in books, discussed in history. But now it feels like they are standing right in front of us. He is the former Prime Minister of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim Al Thani. He is not just a former Prime Minister. He is also a powerful investor. And even today, his influence inside Qatar is so deep and so strong that it is difficult for ordinary people like you and me to even imagine. In Qatar, former prime ministers often remain almost as influential as the current leadership. So when he speaks, it is important to understand something very clearly. What he says usually aligns with the thinking, intentions, and strategic direction of the current Qatari establishment. Now let's talk about what he actually said. He stated that the time has come to urgently form a NATO-style military alliance involving Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Pakistan, and he emphasized that this must be done on an urgent basis. Why urgent? Because, according to him, a major regional crisis is approaching, and it must be managed before it spirals out of control. Let me explain something very important here. If a sitting prime minister or the emir of Qatar were to say this officially, it would immediately create massive international controversy. So often when a sensitive idea needs to be floated or a message needs to be delivered, a senior former leader speaks first. If the reaction is strong, they can always say, this was only his personal opinion. But in reality, it is a strategic signal. So why is Qatar thinking this way now? Because Qatar has learned some hard lessons recently. Qatar can no longer fully rely on the United States for its long-term security. Recent developments have made this very clear. When tensions rise in the region, Qatar becomes extremely vulnerable, especially because of foreign military installations on its soil. And here's the key point. If those foreign bases were not there, Qatar itself would not be a direct party to any confrontation. Qatar does not have hostilities with its neighbors. So the question becomes, who will provide protection if reliance shifts away from the U.S.? That is where this proposed alliance comes in. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Pakistan. Notice something important. Qatar did not mention itself. Yet, this proposal is about creating a foundation first. Later, other countries can gradually join. What Qatar is really saying is this. The global order is changing. The Middle East can no longer depend on old security arrangements. External powers act based on their own priorities, not regional stability. Many regional states now realize that protection has often come with conditions, pressure, and political demands. If regional countries unite, their collective strength becomes enormous. Large populations, strong armed forces, strategic geography, nuclear capability, control over key trade routes, Red Sea, Suez Canal, Gulf, Eastern Mediterranean. With such coordination, instability itself can be prevented. Without confrontation. Another important reality. Relations between many of these countries and Iran have improved significantly. The old logic of confrontation is no longer valid. So what happens if such an alliance becomes reality? Regional stability increases, external pressure decreases. Strategic independence grows. Over time, other global powers could also engage diplomatically and economically with this bloc. For some actors, this would be deeply uncomfortable, because it would change the balance of influence in the region. A united regional framework reduces dependence on outside guarantors and strengthens collective decision-making. And that is precisely why this proposal matters so much. But let me be very clear with you. This will not be easy. Powerful interests will resist it. Obstacles will appear. Pressure will increase. Yet the message is simple. If regional countries do not coordinate now, they may face challenges one by one. That is why the word urgent was used. Urgency means the risk is real. Urgency means waiting is no longer an option. Today a crisis pauses. Tomorrow it may not. So this proposal is not emotional. It is strategic. It is sophisticated. It is bold. And it reflects a deep understanding of where the world is heading. The future belongs to those who prepare together.